he's going to use this as a campaign tool. That's and it goes back to the point in that creepy interview that we just watched. The point that he was making was, all this is doing is putting me back in the limelight. It's opening up his platform.
This party that claims to be against censorship, why are they doing this to the press? Because they can, and they will continue to do so as long as they believe that they can, until we, and not just we in this body.
Think Congress is boring? Think again. Tyrus and Gutfeld came in like a two-man wrecking crew, and Adam Schiff was right in their sights. They went after him non-stop, roasting him so hard you'd think he might start looking for a new job. So what did Schiff do this time to set cable news on fire? Was it a scandal, an awkward speech, or just his talent for turning moments uncomfortable? Stick around, because by the end, you might be out of popcorn and picking your jaw up off the floor.
I hate to act like the very worst of the media and the very worst of the Democrats about demanding this person get locked up and this person be tried and this person go away. But something's got to be done for Adam.
But we in this country stand up to them and tell them, no, you can't. No, you can't. If the slogan years ago was, yes, we can, today it has to be, no, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't trample the rights of the American people. No, you can't censor our speech. No, you can't bring the weight of the Justice Department down.
The halls of Congress have never been short on drama. But lately, one man has turned into the go-to target for eye rolls, late-night jokes, and more snark than a social media feed on election night. Before we go any further, hit that like button and subscribe, because this is one you won't want to miss.
Anyone was interested, did Israel bully you into, like, you're just trying to, always taking a shot at his manhood, always trying to attack him to get him to, and I was very excited to see that he did not jump into it. He just answered them very calm. He's very tempered now. And the thing is like, he's knocked out their Navy, their Air Force, their radar. Now they're going after their rockets. They're sending a message to the world. And it's the exciting part of this is that the Middle East is actually finally responding.
Adam Schiff, once seen as the face of serious investigations and steady leadership, now finds himself in a very different kind of spotlight. One where Tyrus, the former WWE powerhouse with a voice like thunder, and Gutfeld, known for his sharp satire and no-filter humor, have zeroed in on him like heat-seeking missiles, and they're not holding anything back.
Dems pop their dentures when Schiff finally gets censored, and so the House condemns the lies of the man with the zombie eyes. Last night, the House voted on party lines to censure Adam Schiff for promoting the Trump-Russia collusion hoax, which was as believable as Brian Kilmeade getting fan mail. 2 for 2. Schiff becomes only the 26th member ever to be censured, but to his credit, he's still the only member to have a 12-inch neck.
It all starts with perception. For years, Adam Schiff carefully built an image as Washington's relentless watchdog, the one who looks past the smoke and mirrors and uncovers truths others miss. He was seen as the serious one, the steady one, the one you couldn't really shake.
What's to criticize? The economy, jobs, median household income? It's all good news. And when there's good news, his critics just say he's a crazy jerk. But if a crazy jerk can create one of the greatest economies ever, I think we need more crazy jerks. Yeah. No wonder. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm not greedy. Okay, so no wonder Schiff is so desperate. How desperate? In a secret interview, he allegedly tried to bully our Ukraine envoy into testifying that the Ukraine...
He came across as focused and precise, the kind of politician whose presence alone had journalists reaching for their notebooks and interns double-checking every source. But appearances can be surprisingly misleading. The moment Tyrus and Gutfeld stepped in, those carefully built layers of authority started to crack, publicly, dramatically, and in a way that was hard to ignore. Tyrus, with his mix of commanding presence and sharp political instincts, has a way of cutting through the polish of political theater. And Gutfeld, he doesn't do subtle. Watching him break down a public figure feels less like a gentle analysis and more like a loud, chaotic takedown. Messy, a bit intense, and impossible to look away from. Schiff's tarmac style, long pauses, steady emphasis, and carefully timed eye contact, was always meant to draw people in and make them feel the weight of his words. But this time, the audience wasn't what he expected. Instead of quiet attention, he faced Tyrus and Gutfeld, picking apart every line, every gesture, every pause, turning it all into a wave of sharp, sarcastic commentary that made one thing clear: the narrative was starting to shift.
He created 3 years of a massive fallacy that did so much damage to this country and made us miss probably one of the most important stories of our lifetime. We were having hearings on impeachment while the coronavirus was exploding. We talked about that virus in green rooms, but we had to do this impeachment story. We had to show these hearings. It's all on him, man. He's got to go. They got to investigate him. They got to hold him accountable.
Greg Gutfeld went straight for the classics, calling out the theatrics, questioning the sincerity, and turning every measured line into something sharply funny without losing the point underneath it. Adam Schiff, used to steering the conversation and controlling the tone, suddenly found himself on the defensive. Every serious moment was met with light but cutting commentary, highlighting contradictions and moments where confidence started to look a bit like arrogance. His carefully built image of authority began to feel exaggerated, even cartoonish, as both voices refused to treat him as untouchable. Things escalated when Schiff tried to double down on past claims, leaning on history and procedure to reinforce his credibility.
We are at war once again without congressional authorization. The Constitution gives Congress alone the power to declare war. That power was placed in our hands by our founders, not by accident, but by design. They feared an executive grown too fond of war making. And given that now this is at least the third broad use of military force by this president,
Greg Gutfeld, never missing a beat, reframed those claims in a way that made them seem self-serving, overly technical, and almost performative, drawing a clear line between knowledge and wisdom, and between action and posturing. This wasn't just comedy. It felt like a sharp, precise takedown that made viewers pause and reconsider what they thought they knew about Adam Schiff. Tyrus pushed it further, focusing on how disconnected political rituals can feel from real life, highlighting contradictions and calling out the theatrics in a way that was both funny and uncomfortably on point. What made it compelling was the balance in tone. Together, Gutfeld's bold humor and Tyrus's grounded perspective pulled viewers beyond the surface image and made them question what's real versus what's performance in Washington, with each bringing a different energy that turned the critique into something more layered than just an attack.
What do you think I was going to say? Being censored, which is basically an official serious scolding, is a punishment just below being expelled from Congress. But when Speaker McCarthy made the announcement, Democrats did what they do best: mindlessly scream hysterical nonsense.
The resolution adopted. Without objection, the motion to consider is laid on the table. House will be in order. The House will be in order.
It created a steady rhythm, laughing one moment, leaning in the next, then shaking your head in disbelief. As Adam Schiff's words met the sharp, irreverent style of Greg Gutfeld, every exchange landed with a mix of humor and bite that kept the tension building and releasing in waves. As it went on, the pattern became harder to miss. Schiff grew more defensive, as if realizing his usual way of controlling the narrative wasn't landing the same way anymore. Gutfeld picked up on every small sign of discomfort and turned it into humor while still keeping the critique pointed. Tyrus added another layer, highlighting how unlikely it is that polished political theater still convinces people the way it used to. It wasn't just laughter at Schiff anymore, it was people questioning him, rethinking the line between performance and real policy. Together, Tyrus and Gutfeld turned a standard political critique into something that felt like a wider cultural moment, one that mixed entertainment with reflection in equal measure.
It's like Hunter Biden saying that although he did nothing wrong, he's not going to do it anymore. Hunter says he's no longer going to work for China because we found out, he was working for China. So Schiff champions transparency, all the while saying the whistleblower might not testify because it's a safety concern, he maintains, because we all know CIA agents can't protect themselves against non-existent threats, or that our government can't protect him from your Aunt Sally.
Our primary interest right now is making sure that that person is protected.
Perhaps the most striking detail was that every time Adam Schiff tried to reassert authority, it only seemed to make things more unintentionally funny. Every carefully chosen phrase and deliberate pause became new material, Greg Gutfeld would instantly reframe the statements to highlight their theatrical tone, while Tyrus added grounded commentary that made the attempts at appearing untouchable feel increasingly unrealistic. Together, they stripped away the gravitas in real time, as if deflating it under steady pressure. The exchanges also pointed to something bigger about modern media and political culture. It wasn't just entertainment, it felt like exposure, forcing viewers to rethink how political messaging is built and delivered. Timing mattered too. Schiff's slow, measured style ran straight into fast, sharp, rapid-fire commentary, where every misstep or overly formal phrase was immediately picked apart, magnified, and reframed with no space to recover.
Go to prison, but my evil twin will say he should go away to prison for a very long time.
Juan, I think that the next few days are going to be very interesting to see how many Democrats are going to be willing to talk on the record about what's been going on and what's been revealed.
Well, I think people are glad to talk. I think the question is, are you playing into a political action, regardless of how you've...
The contrast between polished political presentation and fast, sharp satire created a tension that kept viewers fully engaged. It played out like a lesson in pacing, with no forced jokes needed. By the end of the segment, the shift was clear. Adam Schiff's carefully built image of control and authority had been shaken, leaving the audience entertained but also questioning what they had just seen. Tyrus and Greg Gutfeld didn't just critique him, they reshaped the entire conversation, turning a routine political exchange into something that spread widely and highlighted the impact of humor, timing, and sharp commentary on public perception. Schiff, meanwhile, was left in a changing media environment where traditional political messaging no longer lands the same way and where the rules of political storytelling are clearly evolving in real time.
Not necessary so much for transparency, but like everything, the Dems haven't thought this through. So not only are you going to impeach Trump, you're going to do it in secret, in the dark, reversing an election based on hearsay from some anonymous guy you will never ever see who has ties to Democrats. This is what the Dems stand for, and it might not sit well with half of America. And it's just another wide-eyed lie. Schiff knows with each passing day how absurd this story looks. So, better to hide.
The exchanges also pointed to a broader shift in media today. The lines between news, commentary, satire, and cultural influence are getting harder to separate. What used to feel like a controlled space for politicians now feels more like a fast-moving environment where every statement is tested from multiple angles, each with its own tone and speed. Tyrus and Greg Gutfeld showed how humor, timing, critique, and relatability can all combine to reshape how a message is received and how authority is perceived. As clips spread online, discussions picked up quickly. Analysts and viewers started breaking down the effectiveness of Adam Schiff's messaging, while social media filled with debate, memes, and parody. The moment highlighted something clear. Well-executed satire can act as a form of public pressure, pushing even experienced politicians to reconsider how they communicate and how they're perceived.
To discuss this further, we go to the man himself. An audience, no booing. We are a respectful show here. Please welcome Congressman Schiff. How are you?
Shame, shame, shame. Shame on you. Oh, yeah. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Gutfeld.
So, Congressman, I got to ask, how did it feel to have your ass chewed out like that in front of your colleagues?
Oh, well, I will say this, Mr. Gutfeld. It feels
At its core, Tyrus and Greg Gutfeld turned a standard political critique into a viral, culture-driven conversation that mixed humor, insight, and constant observation into something that stuck with viewers. The impact wasn't one single moment. It built up gradually. Adam Schiff's image of strong authority seemed to wear down over time under steady commentary. Gutfeld highlighted every point of irony or contradiction, while Tyrus kept the discussion grounded and relatable for viewers. Together, it created a kind of perfect storm where humor, analysis, and public reaction all collided at once. By the end, the takeaway felt clear. Political performance, no matter how carefully crafted, struggles under the pressure of sharp satire and direct, grounded commentary. And the conversation didn't end there. It spilled into broader debates online about accountability, media awareness, and the growing gap between political image and real substance. Viewers didn't just laugh, they engaged, reflected, and started questioning the narratives they see every day.
Look at Adam Schiff, who pushes lies like George Foreman pushes grills. What could Adam be up to?
And now, Adam Schiff tries to take a nap.
Come on, Adam, you can do this. Relax. Oh, this is really difficult. I shouldn't have had that second Ovaltine.
The exchange between Tyrus and Gutfeld and Adam Schiff is often framed as a lesson in timing, tone, and narrative control. A clear example of how satire can collide with political messaging in real time. Schiff's attempts at seriousness were met with humor and commentary that shifted how the moment was perceived, creating a mix that felt both critical and sharply observational. The takeaway many pointed to is simple. In a media environment where perception carries real weight, no public figure is fully insulated from scrutiny. At the same time, it reflects a broader change in how influence works today. Authority isn't just assumed anymore. It has to hold up under immediate public reaction. Performance alone doesn't guarantee impact, and moments like this show how quickly polished messaging can be reinterpreted once it enters the fast-moving world of commentary and satire.
So Adam Schiff now admits he should have been much more clear about how he unleashed the impeachment circus. Note, when a politician says they should be much more clear, they mean, I wish you hadn't caught me lying to your face.
I should have been much more clear, and I said so the minute it was brought to my attention that I was referring to the fact that when the whistleblower filed the complaint, we had not heard from the whistleblower. We wanted to bring the whistleblower in at that time, but I should have been much more clear about that.
You know, instead of trying to be clear, it might just save time if you just decided to be honest.
Viewers who would never normally watch a committee hearing or read a dense political report suddenly found themselves hooked. Not just for the humor, but because the commentary made them notice patterns they had missed before. Adam Schiff's carefully built arguments were reframed in a way that highlighted contradictions, sharpened awkward moments, and made the performative side of modern politics harder to ignore. People laughed, but they also started asking tougher questions. Each joke carried a point, each sarcastic remark pointed to something real, and every reaction from Schiff gave more material for discussion. The dynamic wasn't only entertaining, it also became oddly informative, creating a space where satire, skepticism, and serious observation could exist at the same time without canceling each other out.
And give him a better shot to get that seat that he so wants. And that's the problem. That's the problem we have in this country. As long as it's not happening to my side of the street, I don't care what's going on the other side. But eventually it all comes around. And that's where wrong is wrong. And we need to get back to that. What this man did is he led a quiet coup with no facts and disrupted the country for basically all of 4 years of President Trump's term, nonstop. So that, to me, should bother everybody.
By the time the segment ended, the impact was already spreading. Clips quickly moved across platforms, discussions picked up online, and memes turned Adam Schiff's serious tone into a kind of shorthand for political overconfidence and staged theatrics. Tyrus and Gutfeld didn't just comment on the moment, they helped shape how it was being talked about, showing how fast humor and sharp analysis can influence public perception in today's media cycle. What stood out to many was how quickly narrative control can shift in real time. Schiff may have entered the exchange expecting structure and control, but instead faced constant scrutiny that didn't treat surface-level authority as enough on its own. For viewers, it became more than just entertainment. It was a reminder that in modern politics, timing, wit, and clear observation can carry as much weight as titles or experience, especially when everything is unfolding live and unfiltered.